third day of the Intra-African Trade Fair, and we continue profiling some of the influential voices we're coming across here as we, I guess, make sense of what it means to have cross-collaboration across the African continent. One man whose voice cannot be understated is, of course, Thabang Moleya, who is the co-owner of Seriti Films. He's also the director of Happiness Ever After. Sir, it's great to speak to you again. Thanks very much for making time to chat to us. A lot of what you've had to say in the panel discussion we've had is centered in some respects around breaking barriers.
Right.
Do you feel enough of that is happening?
Sure. Breaking barriers is a very wide topic. Breaking barriers in terms of us as filmmakers creating content that's traveling the world, we're definitely doing that. Breaking barriers in terms of young, very talented youth creating content and making really high-end progressive short films, we're definitely doing that. So I think as a whole, as a country, as a collective, as a continent, Africa is really elevating itself and saying, like, we've got amazing storytellers and our stories are for the world. And stories in terms of like any form of expression, right? Like whether it's in fashion, whether it's in music, whether it's in contemporary art, whether it's in film and TV, that is part of what, that is art, and us as like, whether it's Latuma, whether it's Makosa, whether it's my movie in like 190 different countries, like Africa is literally saying, we are here and these are stories and we're proud of telling them.
What I find very interesting is this thing of negotiating, producing volume and mass versus quality of work that you do, right? Another complexity that you highlighted.
Yeah.
How do new entrants negotiate these two things, right? On the one hand, I need to learn how to do this well, so I'm going to try to do as many films as I want or as I can. But on the other hand, people just genuinely accept and respond well to good quality work.
Right. I think both are equally as important. I think volume is good because volume allows us to, it allows people to be able to continue practicing at the craft, right? So volume is very important. Crafting takes a little bit more time. So if we only crafted, we wouldn't be able to create the amount of work that volume is creating, right? So volume is, the quality might not be as good, but people are able to engage on like interesting stories. Platforms are also different, right? You've got TikTok, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. So how people are outputting that content doesn't always have to be at like high-end production value like a movie would, right? So volume is important because the outlets are a lot different. Crafting and taking the time to do it is also important because that's how you're going to be able to stand out on the world stage and be noticed. So both are equally as important in terms of us growing as content creators.
Thanks very much indeed for flying SA's flag quite high, at least on a global stage like this. Really appreciate your time, sir. Thabang, of course, is the co-owner of Seriti Films. He's also director of Happiness Ever After, giving us, I guess, some gems about what it takes to get to the top, hopefully also opening up the door for many others to follow. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ayanda Nyathi at the Intra-African Trade Fair at the Durban ICC.